Couple of little maintenance jobs today, so join me while we just scoot around and do that. Right, many of you know that I put a fiberglass pole on the top of my main mast where I've got 20 and 10 Yagis on the top. And I put this fiberglass pole on with the whole idea being I'll bring a 27 metre long vertical all the way down to the base here and feed it against the 4 square radials, which I'm walking under right now, something like 700 metres. But as Andy Linton pointed out, because the SY3 has got a gamma match, hairpin match, I think it's called a gamma match, against the boom, that means that effectively the centre of my coax is also shorted to the braid of the coax. I've got the multimeter here, let's just find out. Now right now it will definitely be shorted because I've intentionally shorted it. So let's take this out. Okay, we come down through the rotator and then we've got this fiberglass piece. So the whole ground system for the 160 is supposed to eventually come to this ground rod, right, which everything is grounded to as well. And I've already got under here the fork connectors all ready to connect to the 160 metre, which is all this as well. So if we put a multimeter between here and here, it shouldn't be shorted. We'll obviously run a wire right up here, but anyway, yeah, it's shorted. What is the signal path? Well, the signal path is that all these radials, which are under here, which you can't see, all right, are connected to 4 verticals. And here are the verticals here. There's one of them. There's 4 of these because it's a phased array. All right. So the braid of that connector here is connected to the radials. So let's follow the braid back. And we know that all the radials and the braid are connected under here, right, which you can hardly just see. There's radials connected directly to the mast. So that's the ground. So we definitely know that the ground is connected to all the braids on all the coax in the whole field, right? But that ground now goes all the way up the tower on this coax, goes all the way up to the SY3 at the top. It goes around the gamma match, right, which is DC shorted to the boom, which is connected to the mast and comes all the way down here. Therefore, we can't put a 160 metre up this mast unless we disconnect the SY3 or put it on a fiberglass boom or something. So next time this mast's down, we'll have a look at that. But that's the problem with a 160 metre vertical. And I've got my hand on the pole here and I can feel the wind vibration at 80 feet above me, which is quite interesting. That's blowing to the right slightly. You can just see it up there somewhere. Because I think a 27 metre high vertical with 700 metres of ground radials, personally, I think it would work great, right, for DX on top band. But we need to solve this shorting issue first. So next time it's down, we'll have a look at the SY3 and see how we can insulate it. So a few days ago, I ran a new piece of coax to the 160 80 metre dipole. And I thought, oh blast, it'll take forever to, bury itself. So there's the main mini tower, that's tower 2 or mast 2. And you can see all the cables at the bottom there. But as it goes down here, I mean, they're nearly gone. Can you see? It's not until I get right over the top of it. And we're interested in the cable on the right. That is the 160 metre, 80 metre fan. And as soon as I move off to the side, it's gone. So the weight of it sits on the grass and then the grass just grows around it. Now I did use some of those radial pins. Let's find one, get my shadow on here. There's one of the radial pins, just there. About every, I don't know, 3 feet, couple of metres. I could go in a bit further. Don't want to break it. and that will just grow away. Because the thing is, I mean, I move away, it's literally gone. Look, fantastic. And of course we did this with the Foursquare, and the 700 meters, 3 7s 21, what's that, 2,000. Martin came along and helped me, and we pinned them all down. To start with, you could find them for a couple of weeks, and that's it, they were gone. So unfortunately, the robot mower found a couple of the ferrites, but even they're burying themselves. So you'd be surprised. So you think, oh, I put my radials down, and then what do? I seem to remember when the first set of radials for the original DX Commander, I think it was the first one I put here in the field. I think it was a 12.4. I put the radials down on one day. I think we had the dogs up here the next day. I think they just caught one or two. I used those little radial pins. You can get them from golf shops. We used to sell them as well. If in the US, you might be better off getting them from a golf shop. There's 32 radials going out from that centre feed point, and all roughly 10 or 12 metres long. I don't know, 30 odd feet. It's amazing, isn't it, how cables just disappear in the grass. Because the thing is, I suppose there's two things going on. You've got the weight of the cable itself. Oh, unless it's that nasty outdoor Ethernet, which just forever sort of spends its time coiling up. But most wire has got a weight, so it sits on the ground, then the grass comes along and just grows around it. And then you bring the mower out and it's gone. My coax distribution shed is a mess. And one of the reasons it's a mess is that I've got no labels on the coax. So all the antennas come in down this middle one here, and then they split. Either go left or they go right. If they go left, they go to either main VFO station 1 or main VFO station 2. And if they go right, that's the backup receive port, station 1, station 2. Now, I can recognise that one because it's huge. That is for 10 metres, but all the rest, I take some out and then I completely mixed up. So I've brought a label printer out with me, and we're going to print some labels. Now, years ago, at my local club, someone had put labels on a load of coax, but they put it lengthway down the coax. Of course, within a day, it all peeled off. So we need to come up with a system where we can put it around the coax, and then you'll see what I mean. And we are a heat wave in the UK right now. Ta-da! Apparently I know what I'm doing. So we'll start with DXC Vert. Hey! I think it's Tom, actually. He gets really pissed off that the label, you know, it's got too much front and back. Oh, I haven't got any scissors with me, but never mind. We'll start with the Foursquare because that's at the bottom. And lucky I'm in the shade here now, but it's very hot. Where do we put this? About there. Foursquare, Foursquare, Foursquare. Good. Well, it's easy then, isn't it? I don't know why I'm labelling this one, because this is the tree vertical. I had a good video about the tree verticals, how to make a 20-metre vertical from scrap. It works really well. I got all this fancy tech out here, and I got a scrappy piece of wire hanging off a tree. And Rowley was saying he's getting some good contacts on it. I did say, you do know we've got a full-on DX Commander in the middle of the grass. All right, well, I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but I can now see, you know, it's a vertical. That is, there's a Yagi there. You know, what is this? Some sort of delta. I can read D160. Good. Which means now I can replumb the switch. Go, oh, we'll have 10 there, 20 there, you know. And then I can come out here and just plug the right coax into the right place. You can buy special label things, like for Ethernet and everything. But, you know, it's not, I don't need weatherproof or anything. And I don't need, it's not like I'm, you know, this is my customer and they need to see all the labels and everything. So I took a bit of a risk a year a bit ago. Our field is 40 something metres by 20, so 3/4 of 12, about 135 feet by 80, right? I think it's a quarter of an acre. Doesn't feel it. I can get from one end to the other pretty quickly. And when we expanded the field and went double the size, the best price we could get for a cut was £70, which is about $100 US. And so I started doing it myself. But then you either have to cut it every other day, you know, when it's the growing season, or collect it all up. And there's like half a ton of grass cuttings. And so I looked at this lawnmower business, and I wrote to Husqvarna and a few other of these things, because when I started looking, you put a boundary wire in, and I discovered that was like at 800 kilohertz or something. And I thought, well, has that got harmonics? And, you know, so you write to these professional companies and say, I want to understand about harmonics, and, well, they never get back to you, do they? Ever. Anyway, I took a bit of a risk and bought the Luba 3000. And this summer, it'll have paid for itself, because the price went, as I said, up to about £70. And not only is it paid for itself, but we can cut it more often and make it look prettier, because I don't know if you can see this. It just looks so nice, right? And I've put a design in. Just last night, I've put a compass design right in the middle. And here's Wendy coming to see me. Yes, Wendy? When Wendy comes to see me, I'm out in the field. It terrifies me, because it means I've normally made some admin error, but I haven't. So I bought the Luba 3000, and that is now, I think, just about paid for itself. But two things, well, you get an app on either the phone or iPad or whatever you want. That works well. Doesn't work on a PC, so you need a device like a phone or a tablet, either Android or Apple. And you end up with lovely stripes, right? You could sit there, I mean, it bore you to tears, but it's got a camera on it. You can hit the first person view, you can watch it go around. I know it sounds crazy, but also you end up with this lovely mow, right? So it looks more luxurious for us with the dogs. You know, we throw the ball and it bounces nicely. Where before the grass was getting really long and it was being cut once a week, or you'd forget for a few days. The obstacle avoidance is auto magic. You can program, and originally I programmed the no-go areas and I had to drive it around each mast. I've given up on that now. I just let it bump into it. So you can see, well, this one here, it's just, I go around with the shears every couple of weeks, or bring the strimmer around. I could program that so it would cut it tighter, but to be honest, I just can't be bothered. I just let it bump into it and it moves on, you know. Even when it's out and operating, bearing in mind I've got all these antennas here, all this switchgear here, I've got zero noise. That's the important thing. I've got a very big ferrite on the mains lead, in fairness, just why not? But it just works, and I'm so pleased. So I just felt I could recommend that. You know, your mileage may vary, but there we are. Luba 3000. See you next time. Bye for now.